Well, hello. Bonjour, as the French would say. Welcome to England Exclusive, Episode 2. We're going to focus on the England game and possible chances for the tournament. Hayden, you are my co-presenter, and Adam Drane, the special guest. So, what did we rate of the other night, lads?
It was a great performance from the boys. We weren't expecting anything from the game, really, were we? So a point is a huge bonus. We can still top the group, which is all we could hope for, really, at the beginning of the match.
Adam, what did you rate of James Milner?
Well, I thought defensively he certainly wasn't good enough. I didn't think he did his job properly, and some of his crosses were too low for anyone to get onto. He could have put some balls in the air for Welbeck, and no, I'd rather have Adam Johnson or possibly even Downing for the next game.
And on the other wing, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Hayden?
Well, before the game, I certainly wasn't pleased with that selection. I thought he was too young, too inexperienced, but he certainly proved me wrong. In the first half, he was running at the defence. When we did go on the attack, he was at the centre of all the problems we were causing. So, good choice from Roy Hodgson in the end.
Yes, Oxo proved to be good gravy, as it were. So, Adam, what did you make of Joe Hart?
Well, I thought he was a bit nervous at the start, a couple of drop catches from the corners, and I thought the goal, he probably wrong-footed himself, but as the game progressed, so did his form, and he played a bit better towards the end, and I'm sure he'll be a key player for England towards the end of the tournament.
Yeah, Hayden, it stung that a little bit more when Nasri scored, didn't it?
Well, I think it was such a good shot from Nasri. Joe Hart, in my opinion, shouldn't be to blame for that goal, but I'm not a fan of Nasri anyway because of his Arsenal connection, but after doing that to the England fans, I think I hate him even more now.
And as an Arsenal fan, him leaving us, I'm certainly not keen on him either. So something we can both agree on. And as far as contenders go, Adam, Russia are a dark horse. What do you rate of them?
Well, I thought some of the players, such as Arshavin, he doesn't really perform for Arsenal, but he was great for them the other night. I think Pavlyuchenko come in and got an assist and a great goal, great footwork. I reckon Russia could possibly recreate what they did at the last tournament and could go further in the group stages.
Absolutely. And Portugal and Holland, well, James Morrison considered them to be contenders, didn't he, Holland? And the mighty Dutch, as I quote.
I'd just quickly like to apologise for James Wilson last week. We quickly had to get someone off the street to be the special guest. We apologise for his opinions and views.
He's not on this week, he's at Brighton training. But
and we also apologise for his haircut.
Absolutely, well, I'll leave it there. So Portugal and Holland, well, they pretty much bottled it, didn't they?
Going into that game, the Danes, everyone was saying they're going to come bottom of the group, lose to all three teams, but Holland's were awful, really, weren't they? Van Persie even air kicked it at one point. I just found it amazing how Denmark could even nearly pull a result off there, but they managed it somehow.
Can I quickly say Daniel Agger, I thought he was immense for the Danes the other night.
Oh, he was brilliant. And Germany, well, they're very strong contenders now after a brilliant performance.
You could tell they weren't even at their best, but they still managed to beat Portugal. That was only 1-0. It was a very comfortable win. Mario Gomez wasn't in the game, but still managed to come up with a goal like he's been doing all season for Bayern Munich.
Well, as always, Adam, they grind out efficient results, don't they? That's just typical of the Germans, isn't it?
Well, certainly. The Germans, always efficient, quick, strong. I mean, Schweinsteiger symbolises everything about the German team, to be honest. As much as we may hate them as Englishmen, you can't help but admire their, power.
And Spain and Italy, that was certainly pleasant for the eye, wasn't it?
It was a great game, one of the best of the tournament so far, in my opinion. We went into the game, certainly I thought Spain would roll them over, but didn't really agree with the lineup. Playing 6 midfielders and no front man just seemed wrong to me.
Yeah, a few years ago against the Czech Republic, Scotland played no front man. I'm not quite put them on the same level, but agree. And do you think Italy have got a chance?
I think after that game, I don't think anyone can say they haven't got a chance. They matched the Spanish and at parts even strung a few passes together themselves.
And Ireland, what do we rate of them, Adam?
Well, I think under a manager such as Trapattoni, we saw the passion he showed when he was at Bayern Munich in that press conference. I haven't seen any manager speak like that, but anyway, Ireland, the fans, they're really up for it, and obviously as the underdogs, I think as Roy Keane quoted, they won't be afraid of anyone. But no, their performance against the Croats wasn't up for it, and players such as Modric, Chorluka, just really overran them.
Quality shown in the end, and it looks inevitable that they're going to leave their group. England, what sort of chance do you think we have?
Well, I can I can't see us not getting out of the group, and then from then anything can happen. If we can somehow manage to avoid Spain in the quarterfinals, I think semi-finals is definitely a possibility, and from then you never know.
And speaking of England, Joe Barton was quoted this week on Twitter saying, "On ability I walk into the squad, on behaviour I don't. Fact." What do we make of that, Adam?
Well, I think that's just a ridiculous comment. I think it's a bit of a prat really, and I think the whole nation would agree, other than some of the QPR fans. But no, I think that's a ridiculous comment. He's certainly not as good as people like Steven Gerrard, even Scott Parker. I think he's obviously been misled somewhere, and he's quite deluded, to be honest.
Hayden? If England beats Sweden, how do we do it? And who should start?
Well, in my opinion, we should field maybe the same team as we did against the French. It certainly seemed to work. There was good chemistry there. Although we didn't have much of the ball in that game, we certainly seemed to put a good performance in. And if players like Oxlade-Chamberlain can get more of the ball in that next game, it will definitely cause some problems.
Perhaps we should start Theo Walcott. He looks a good prospect. Would you agree? Instead of James Milner?
I'm not a big fan of Theo, but we'll see. Maybe the pace will be a good thing.
And to conclude today's show, we'll talk about the few key moments over the past week. Hayden, what did you rate of Balotelli's chance?
Well, he did the hard bit. He outmuscled the defender, and it was a great chance to put Italy 1-0 up, but I don't know how he couldn't get a shot off there. I think any of us three could have managed to at least pull the trigger there, get a shot on target, but I just think it was appalling really how he couldn't work Casillas there.
Absolutely.
Speaking of key players, Ronaldo, again for me, I think he's bottled it at another tournament. I hope he proves me wrong, because I want to see him do something at a tournament, but he hasn't done it before and he didn't do it again, so, you know.
Yes, well, no, funnily enough, did you see his haircut at half time? He had the mop top at the start and then he began to spike it up in the second. I have to question his patriotism there, Hayden?
Definitely, if you're in the change room at half time, spiking your hair while the coach is trying to get some points across, it's just not good enough in my opinion.
I think he had more important things to do really, wasn't he? But
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for watching England Exclusive this week. If you'd like to tweet us on any ideas or questions, then feel free. Thank you.
thank you.